Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mr. KB. Happy 2017. Happy New Year's, as a matter of fact. Today is January 1st, 2017. Today is week 17 of the NFL regular season. And, well, that's really much it for if you're a Niners fan. I mean, our season ended today with a loss to the Seattle Seahawks, 25-22. This was the first complete game I think I've watched in maybe 4 or 5 weeks, maybe a little bit more. I've been uninspired to watch our team lose. I mean, they did win last week against the Rams, which was pretty cool. My best friend actually got tickets from his wife to go to the Coliseum and watch that game at the Coliseum where they actually beat the Rams, and that's the only team that we actually beat this year was the Rams. Beat them twice, and I actually got that wrong. I thought the Rams would come out and fight, and I mean, it was a close game, but the Niners won, so it's always good to see the team win. Like, as far as like, oh well, that cost us the first overall draft, and who cares really? Like, yes, from a business standpoint, getting a number one pick. Oh my god, ESPN talks about us, Fox talks about us, everybody talks about the Niners. What they're gonna do with the first overall pick had they had it, but who cares? You know what I'm saying? If you're a professional in any degree, it doesn't matter if it's a professional football player, professional basketball player, man, you can be a professional at your profession, whatever that may be. Whenever you get a victory, it's good. When you work hard to do something that you're passionate about, that is your livelihood, whenever you can get a victory, you take that victory. You let the business side take care of itself. You get the victory that you work hard for. These men, regardless of what the record may say, go to practice every day, punch the time cards every day to practice to make sure that they are prepared, or at least as prepared as they can be, to take a beating for 60 minutes. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter what they think affects the business side of things. It's always good to get that W. You saw Cleveland when they got that first one against the Chargers, man. They acted like they won the damn Super Bowl, even though they still get the number one overall pick, but it's good to get that victory. You know what I'm saying? It's good to win. So I was happy with the boys won, and the fact that my best friend was there to actually see it, for his Christmas present. It was pretty cool. But it looks as they're gonna finish. It doesn't look like they're gonna finish 2-14. They're gonna get the second overall pick, and I guess and we'll get to the big news later on because I'm kind of hyped about that. Don't get it twisted. I've been saying it all season. I'm kind of hyped about it. I won't get to that. Let's take care of this first. They will be getting the number 2 pick. I went to just WalterFootball.com, CBSSports.com, and BleacherReport.com to see what the mock draft looks like. And going with the 1-2, it looks like so far the only thing that really changes up top is actually not even is I think they all get the same one, right? Texas A&M. Yeah, it looks like all the mock drafts have Myles Garrett, a defensive end from Texas A&M, going to the Cleveland Browns, number 1. And Mitch Trubisky from North Carolina, a QB from North Carolina, going to the 49ers. All 3 draft boards have Mitch Trubisky coming to the Niners, being our next, hopefully, franchise quarterback. From what little I've seen of him, and by little I mean like literally 5 minutes of what I've seen in this kid, he looks accurate. He looks like, he has a quick release. He's very accurate, even downfield. Yes, he did play for North Carolina, and they normally don't play high-end competition week in and week out. But, you can see accuracy. You can see the attention to detail. It looks like with the right coaching, and we'll get to that very important detail, in a little bit, it looks like he could be. Like, am I hyped? Like, honestly, I don't know who he actually is. And he's not from Ohio State. He's not from Alabama. He's not from a big school. So, I'm going to leave it to the professionals at those organizations that I just mentioned, and even ESPN and all those, to kind of determine whether or not this kid has the talent to kind of be a NFL caliber quarterback. And I really don't know. Like I said, I've only seen like maybe 5 or 6 minutes of this kid's highlight film, and we'll see. But it looks like the Niners are kind of destined to get a quarterback. And if that's the case, then I say kudos. We really do need a quarterback that's a pocket passer, more traditional base quarterback, somebody that has those things. Like Kaepernick is very athletic. He's a very X factor type of quarterback, but in the NFC, he's not meant for that. If you think of Kaepernick being quick, being elusive, being an X factor, that's cool and all, but that works against teams that don't have quick linebackers, that don't have quick defensive ends, that don't have quickness on defense. And if you think about the NFC as a whole, that's kind of been their model going forward, or like has been their model on defense pretty much in like the last 10 years. How do you get faster, quicker, stronger on defense? While the AFC is still more traditional based, it's still more scheme, more assignment, more, I guess, more planned out. While on the NFC, yeah, of course, there's always a game plan going in, but you have such athletic guys in the NFC. And if you're talking about just trying to win in your division, trying to win the NFC West, you look at Arizona, you look at St. Louis, you look at Seattle, and all of their defenses have quick, strong, fast guys that can catch Kaepernick and no problem. And you saw it this season. Like, whenever Kaepernick was out of the pocket trying to run, he gets caught from the back. Yeah, he could break a run possibly if something down the middle opened up. But trying to escape that pocket off the edge, it wasn't happening. Off bootlegs, off. Nobody was scared of Kaepernick running. Because you had linebackers, and especially in those three teams and even other teams. If you look at Carolina, you look at even Atlanta, pretty much any team in the NFC can cover somebody like Kaepernick. If you put Kaepernick in the AFC, and I've been saying this for a while, and I think it might be a good destination for him if he went to the Jets, because they are a quarterback and they are a team in need of a quarterback. I think if he went there, I think he can rejuvenate. If he puts in the effort, I think he can rejuvenate his career, have success against the Dolphins, have success against the Buffalo Bills, and even against the Patriots, because those are a more traditional based defenses that kind of do formations, that work on schemes, that work on assignments, and they don't really seem that dynamic to me. And I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. That's what I think, and that's what I'm seeing. That's what I really think about a lot of AFC defenses, that they're more schema based, they're more traditional based. You know, like you kind of plan for what you have, and there's kind of, it has to go that way. And I think Kaepernick would change that a little bit in the AFC, where you have to kind of play a quick NFC style defense to keep up with somebody like him. And while he's adjusting, or while they're adjusting to him in the AFC and him being there, I think he can have some quick games, gain his confidence back, and kind of be the Kaepernick of old. And if that's the case, you know what? Kudos to him. Good luck to him. And I wish him nothing but the best. I just don't want him in the Niners uniform anymore. I think he's run his course here, and I honestly don't think, from a, not even just a personal standpoint of me not wanting him here, from a professional standpoint, from one person to another, I just think it's time for him to move on and kind of find his spot somewhere else where he can succeed. He's not going to succeed in the Niners uniform. So it looks like that if we don't get a quarterback, if we don't get Mitch Trubisky, because it looks also like Cleveland might be in need of a quarterback because they don't have any quarterbacks. If the Browns take the QB, then that means Myles Garrett, the defensive end from Texas A&M, and him I have seen nothing of. All I've read is this man is quick, edge rusher, he's a beast. And if that is the case, we can use one of those two. Basically, the Niners can use just about anything. But from what I'm seeing is, if you got somebody like Myles Garrett who's a beast off the edge, you're going to need to change your formation. Traditionally, I think the Niners have run, going back maybe 6 or 7 years, maybe a little bit further, have run a 3-4 defense. Meaning they have 3 big linemen up front, 4 linebackers in the back, and you try to run with that. The problem that I'm seeing with the Niners currently is they don't get any pressure on the quarterback running a 3-4. Their big 3 are not big enough to withhold double teams, to do any of that. That could change if they bring somebody like a Myles Garrett, where if he is strong enough, if he is fast enough, that he's going to open up some holes for the linebackers to get in through. But the other problem that I'm seeing is, if that's the case, then you're drafting Myles Garrett to be kind of like a dummy, a rush dummy. Like, you know he's going to get double teamed most games if he does live up to the hype. And what is he going to do? So I would like to see a defensive coach brought in, or a defensive coordinator brought in, that's going to run a 4-3, meaning you have 4 big linemen in the front and you got 3 linebackers in the back. And if that's the case, I think the Niners would be able to get, with the current roster that they have and kind of people who are kind of locked in contract for next season, would be able to open up and give Myles Garrett an opportunity to kind of be that superstar rookie coming in. If he gets double teamed, then for sure a linebacker can kind of sneak in because you have 3 other linemen to worry about. So if you're on a 4-3, most offensive lines can't afford to double team Myles Garrett every single time. Or if you're on a 3-4, I think that is still something that they can do, because the linebackers on the 49ers currently are not, we're far removed from the times of Chris Borland, who only had 1 season there, of Patrick Willis, and like Bowman is just injured. He hasn't been the same since his injury, but he's injury prone now. Will Hoyt hasn't really brought anything to the table. I mean, he's serviceable, but he's not a superstar. So I think all the current linebackers need help, and I think a 4-3 would help everybody, including Myles Garrett, if he does slip to the Niners in the second pick. I think that would help. So that's something I would like to see, and that's really much all I can say about going into the future and what we hold right now and what little I know of these actual 2 players. Once they get drafted, we'll see how the rest of the draft goes, and I hope that I will have the time to kind of give my thoughts on that. So the biggest news for 2017 is both Trent Ballke and Chip Kelly have been relieved. Them fools got fired of their duties. And like, I'm in the video game industry, so to me it always hurts when you see a studio close down and people lose their jobs. Developers, programmers, QA, producers, whatever the case may be. I always feel sorry for them. It sucks to see people lose their jobs. In this case, these people have made millions already. They lost their jobs because they sucked at their jobs. I don't feel that bad for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you gave me a job, or you gave me $7 million for 1 year, and then you told me, hey, you kind of sucked at your job, so how about you just not work here anymore, but I earned $7 million for that 1 year, hey, I will shake your hand, kiss you right in the lips, and say thank you very much for this lottery ticket of a career, and I will do my own thing with the $7 million pre-tax that you give me. So Chip Kelly is gone. Rumor has it that he might go back to Oregon, as Oregon has been suffering since Chip Kelly actually left. And I've said it, in college, the man is a genius. Very few people can kind of match him. But when he came to the pros, I'm sorry. He thought he can bring that same scheme, that same thought, that same high-paced offense and defense that he did in college to the pros. And it just doesn't work that way. You have about 25 less players that you can kind of move in and move out. People get tired. All right, people are faster in the NFL. They're stronger in the NFL. Therefore, if you try to rush things in the NFL, you fatigue faster in the NFL. So, if he goes back to Oregon, good for him. Bye. I don't care. He never belonged in a Niners uniform, wearing anything Niners. He never belonged here. I never liked the hire. Adios. Trent Ballke, I blame him just for having a super big ego and getting Harbaugh fired. I believe he was one of the major factors in getting Harbaugh fired, that his ego was so big that he was unable to just kind of compromise with Jim Harbaugh. And we see the effects of that. Like, Jim Harbaugh is a crazy dude. Like, he's a crazy guy. And I don't really think that he is like a coaching genius, the way that you would probably use that term for like Bill Belichick, or really just Belichick. Who else would I put in that kind of like scheme? I mean, Bill Belichick is tops. He's a tops in the NFL. Nobody comes close. I think just Jim Harbaugh knows how to get the best from his players. He is a player's coach. He knows how to coach somebody. He knows how to hype you up. He knows how to get you excited to go play this game. I think that's what he was. He wasn't really that much of a genius. He didn't have the schemes. He just got people so hyped up and rushed that they were ready just to kill anybody in front of him. And I think now you're seeing what that meant. Like when they had the killer instinct in San Francisco with him there, top 5 defenses for the 4 years he was there. Even in that off year, still top 5 defenses. The offense suffered little by little here and there, and they were never really tops. I think the top they ever reached was like maybe top 20 in offense, and I think that was like his second year there. But you kind of see that. I think Trent Ballke kind of had a big hand in getting that man dismissed from a position that the Niners desperately needed somebody like him there. And, you know, we got Tom Sula last year, and he finished 5-11. Then we got Chip Kelly this year, and then he did even worse, which I don't know how you go from Tom Sula to a bigger, well-known name like Chip Kelly, and you still lose 3 more games. And I think this was probably the final straw for it. So I'm going to assume that Prince Joffrey, a.k.a. Jed York, manned up and said, you know what, this isn't working out. And he fired Chip Kelly and he fired Trent Baalke. At least that's what I hope happened. Not so far that he was like, oh, you're fired. Like that he sent somebody. I hope that he was man enough to call both men into his office and be like, hey, sorry. It's just this isn't working out. And he dismissed both of them man to man, face to face, eye to eye, and told them this isn't working out. Both men are now gone. So where does that leave the Niners? Who knows, honestly. My dream scenario, and it wouldn't even be because I think he'll be a great GM or a great VP or a great really anything, because I don't know him. I just personally like him. I would like to see Steve Young kind of take that the John Elway approach from Denver and kind of be planted in that end of franchise. You know, really competitive guy, isn't removed from the NFL because he has been doing ESPN things where he has to watch video, he has to keep up with the trends in the NFL to kind of stay current in his current job. You know, he has to kind of still study the NFL and study teams and study players, so he knows what he's actually talking about on film on ESPN. And I think having somebody like a Steve Young in that position could benefit not just the players, because I mean he's a legend. Like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, he only won 1 Super Bowl, but the man is a legend even to me. You know, I kind of missed the highlight Joe Montana kind of parts because I didn't really start following the Niners until I think the Niners' last Super Bowl, going into when Steve Young came. So to me, like, that was when I kind of started really following the Niners, was like during the Steve Young era. You know, like once Joe Montana kind of went to the Chiefs and Steve Young kind of came up, that's when I really started following the Niners, because I kind of understood a little bit more of what was going on. I think it was like 9 or 10 when that happened. So I was able to kind of watch the NFL by myself. And that's, so to me, like, Steve Young was, man, that man is a legend. Yes, just 1 Super Bowl, but man, like, watching this man play was amazing to me. Like, a running quarterback who was smart, quick, and tough as all hell. Like, this man was just, I once saw him play, I want to say against Tampa Bay, with a separated shoulder. Like, the man got hit. He got a separated shoulder. Literally, like, he had to run after every throw to another huddle, or after every play to another huddle, with his arm just like dangling between his legs, and he's like, you know, and he's like, oh, like he's in pain. You can see it, but his arm is just kind of like dangling there, and this is throwing him because he's a lefty, to hike it and then throw the ball with that same arm. And when he would throw it, like, he would throw it with such force, and it would go between his legs again, and he would go to the next huddle with it. Just, oh man, like, just thinking of, just like remembering like that image, that to me is a person that I would want to talk to about a job there, coach, quarterback, GM, whatever. Like, if I had to like talk to somebody like Trent Ballke and tell him why I want to be a Niner, and to deal with somebody who doesn't even play the game, never play the game, doesn't understand the game, and then have to talk to somebody like Steve Young. Man, that's like automatic respect coming into that interview. It's like, you have to respect Steve Young for everything that he did in his career, everything that he did for the Niners, just the way he handled everything. Like, that's automatic respect. Where I feel like somebody or like with like Trent Ballke, like that man would have to earn your respect. Like, there's no automatic respect given to him. He's a suit. You know, Steve Young is like, that's automatic respect. That man has been there. He's done all that. He's gone through the years of having to sit on the bench and just be thought of as like as a backup, and like having to rise up and prove himself. Like, that's automatic respect right there. So that's my dream scenario. As far as everybody else, man, I don't know anything about front office and who would be a good GM and who wouldn't be, but that would be my dream scenario. Put Steve Young in that type of position, make it happen. Head coaches, you know what? I'm completely lost. I don't know who can come in to a franchise who's had 2 losing seasons, one being worse than the other. The core of your talent that was there just 3 seasons ago is pretty much all gone. And at this point, it looks like you're going to have a new quarterback, or have a quarterback that's not, that's pretty much just serviceable. And by serviceable, I mean Blaine Gabbert. You know, like Alex Smith version 0.9. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he's as experienced as Alex Smith, and not quite as serviceable as Alex Smith in my eyes. So it's kind of a downgrade from what we already had and shipped off to the Chiefs. So, you know, can you bring him up to be Alex Smith 0.1, 0.2, 1.3 in one season? Who knows? But that's going to be the quarterback or the coach that you need, somebody like that. And the only person that I could think of would be, bring Jim Harbaugh back, but he's not leaving Michigan. The man hasn't won, and I think Jim Harbaugh's the type of competitor that he went to Michigan with the want and the need to beat not only Ohio State, but beat every team in front of him and actually win a national championship for Michigan. Since he hasn't done that, I don't see him leaving anytime sooner until he proves that he can actually do that, because he looks like a man that's a completionist and would want to see that. So, yeah. I guess that was a big hype news for me. Was 2017 is Chip Kelly's gone, Trent Baalke is gone, and we got a top 2 pick, and it looks like both men, from what little I've read and what I've actually seen of just one guy, there'll be something to build around. There'll be something going forward. And I look forward to it. We'll see what happens. And that's pretty much it. That's the season. I'm not gonna comment on any of the playoff stuff. I hope things work out. I'm gonna watch the playoff games, but I love the game of football, and I love seeing, like, playoff time is like the greatest thing, but I'm not that passionate about these teams to really be like, oh, I gotta come and talk. But the Niners are my passion. They're my squad. They will always be my squad. So, like, our preseason again starts in April when the draft comes out, and then you guys will see me again talking about football like this and in this type of format again next season, and we'll see what happens next season, because 2017 is gonna be a rough year for me. I gotta get a second job. The working man can't make it in the United States of America with just one job, and my job actually pays pretty damn well. It's just everything else costs way fucking more than what I actually make. So I gotta find a second job. So hopefully by the time the 2017 season rolls around, I'll be all right, and I can do some stuff, and hopefully things work out in between where I can do some more video game stuff, because this started off as a video game channel, and I think I uploaded one playoff victory game, and they got so many views, like, I can just talk about football. And I figure if I'm passionate about video games, I'm passionate about the NFL, why not just make this channel just what I'm passionate about? I'm hoping to buy some new things as well, for myself, and unbox those, AMD is coming out with new chips, so hopefully 2017 means I get to build a new computer and get to unbox things and put things together and bring happiness to my life. But as far as everything else goes, man, I hope everybody, if you had a down 2016 year, I hope 2017 is an upswing for all of you. I hope that everything works out well, and if you had a pretty good 2016 professionally, personally, whatever, I hope 2017 can use that trend for you. It's always nice to see people succeed in life, to work through life's hurdles and find success, find happiness. And if you haven't found it, I hope 2017 is at least a year where you can start finding it and achieving it. And if you have, let's continue that trend. So up until next time, everybody, happy New Year's, happy everything else that comes with 2017. May you forget about your past if it was bad. May you continue your past if it was good. Try to keep a smile on your face as many times as possible. Laugh and enjoy life. Every day is beautiful, even the rough days. When the rough days come, that means you get to enjoy the great days even more. So, all right, everybody, this is Mr. KB. Until next time, whenever that may be, take care. I love your faces. Thank you so much for watching. And adios.